it going, everybody, and welcome to another session of the Let's Talk Show by Interlingua. I am your host, Mike Rees, and I welcome you to today's show, which is strongly related to this format. This show wouldn't be possible if we didn't have equipment, if we didn't have like this headset, this microphone, Wi-Fi, electronic devices. So basically, we do this nowadays, especially in Interlingua, to do our daily duties. We do kind of a home office thing. Can you relate yourself to that? Are you currently working through an electronic device? Do you meet with your coworkers, with your supervisor, with your bosses online now? If so, do you miss it? What do you prefer? Working with the comfort of your home or going into an actual formal workstation? It sounds simple, but there are a lot of factors that come out whenever discussing the home office thing. And today we have, as usual, two guests that will share their experiences with home office. They have all been in previous Let's Talk shows, so they're kind of family right now. Without further ado, let's bring them out. Making their return to the Let's Talk show, let's bring out Jupe and let's bring out Maripaz. Come on!
Hi, Mike.
Hi,
Hi,
Jupe. Hi,
we're back.
Maripaz.
Hi,
What
Maripaz.
up, everybody? So, as I was saying, this format, this show wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the tools in order to work from our homes. But what about your experiences, guys? Are you new to this way of working, or you are totally used to it? Jupe.
I guess I'm an early adapter. I started working from home around the year 2000. So I've worked from home over 20 years now.
What about you, Maripaz? Since when you started
Oh,
working from home office?
I was working from home since before the pandemic hit, so I started 5 years ago.
5 years ago. So, when the pandemic age struck, a lot of people had to adapt in their working life by working from home. But according to what you guys are sharing with me, you were already doing that way before that. When you were first introduced to this way of working, how did you react to it? Were you all up for it? Were you excited? Were you were you nervous about it? What can you tell me, Jupe?
Mhm.
When I first started, we lived in a very small apartment. I was actually sitting on the edge of my bed with the computer, which at that time was like this big thing. So it was all very new. Okay. I had a computer at work, and I had this weird big computer in my bedroom. And of course, it was uncomfortable, even physically, to sit on the corner, on the edge of your bed, for the entire working day, and type away on your computer. Plus, at that time, we had a very young child who, of course, loved to distract her daddy. So there were quite a few hurdles, even physically, to overcome. No, and the other area, of course, is that you have to plan your activities because I mean you're at home. You have to find a boundary between this is my free time and this is my working time. No? I guess this is the same for everybody. You know, you have to find a spot to work at where you're comfortable. You have to find a time that you're comfortable. Organize your life in a way that everything works well. No? Don't you agree, Mike Bus?
Um, I was going to give you the job interview answer and the real me answer.
All
Because
right, let's
I
do it.
I remember when they first offered me the job and everything was done remotely because these people actually operate from Monterrey and from well, and the other company operates in the US, so they are very far away. And I told them at the time that it was great, that I was a very organized person, that it was perfect for me because I was sure that I could do it. No, I was sure that I could uh, perform as they needed me to. So yeah, I convinced them, and to some extent, I convinced myself. um, but when I actually started working, I was on a chair. It was very uncomfortable. I sat on the floor. I started doing yoga. I used this yoga ball, but no one walks you through it. I feel no one really gives you the tools to work from home. You know, my job
Mm.
did this funny thing where they sent you these tips like stretch every 10 minutes so you
Mhm.
don't get stuck and blah blah blah. um, but it's nothing clear, or it doesn't work for you necessarily, because it doesn't give you the tools you need to mentally disconnect. You know, my problem was I continued thinking and I continued studying, and I kept doing this after my shift, and I had a lot of time because we were in the pandemic. So I think I got very invested, but more than I should in the job. Yeah.
So, what exactly were or are the occupations that the duties that you have to cover from home when you first starting with this way of working? You?
In my case, I work for Interlingua, and I work freelance. And in both cases, I prepare educational materials as an author and or editor. So it was the same, just that in the case of Interlingua, we are of course here in Mexico, and you can go visit people. Especially at that time, you could see the people in the offices, and we would work in the offices, and then we would have like meetings in person, and then we would go away, and everybody would work on their parts from home, right? And in the case of the international publishers, I don't see these people at all. The contracts are digital, and everything is long distance, and sometimes even with the time differences in other places, you cannot even communicate live. It's really hard. Everything is non-synchronous. So to answer your question, it's like editorial work.
Like, what exactly was it you had to do?
Well, at the beginning, I was doing very basic stuff. I was only interpreting for insurance
Oh,
companies,
interpreting. Okay.
and I was only doing that type of interpretation or some customer service basic things. It was easier. No, so there were some things that I didn't know. I was always learning, and that was very good about the job. I think it was challenging, and I liked it. But then they came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do medical interpretation?" It was, yeah, I can totally do that. I'm going to nail this. Because I've always liked uh, doing some research about how the body works, and I think I know a little bit about it. But no, it was more difficult than I thought. And at the time, you can't even like disconnect or stop for a moment. No, you have to go with the flow. At the moment, you have to work with the patients because you are there. It is as if you were there with the nurses or with the physical therapists or with the doctors, or they're about to operate a patient and you have to reassure them that
Wow.
everything's going to be great, right? And then they came to me and said, "Hey, but I think you're doing great." And we're like, "Wow, thank you. Do you want to do legal interpretation?" And we're like, "Ah, sure. No, that's, I can totally do it." And that was way more difficult. That was way more serious. Now you have to really follow the instructions. I think the hardest part was when we had to be with a judge, and some of these procedures were even recorded or transmitted. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm going to make a mistake on YouTube, mom. So it was fun, but yes, it was very like, do you swear or affirm that? Yeah, it was interesting. But years of watching CSI and Law and Order did not prepare me for that. No, it was hard.
But you managed to pull it off, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that we don't do anything else. It's medical, legal, and that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
they
All
didn't tell
right.
me, hey, do you want to do? No, that was it.
Okay. You mentioned something very interesting, and I wanted to ask both of you your opinion on this. Nowadays, with especially major companies who work online, who have a lot of people everywhere working from their own spaces, sometimes they don't even meet the people they work with or the
Mhm.
people they are working for. Everything is, through emails, notes, documents, sometimes at best, video calls. What do you think about this matter? Because sometimes, a lot of workers, um, they need to have like this warmth in the place that they work. And do you think this, makes their occupations a little cold or with a little lack of social interaction?
Um, yes and no.
Okay.
I guess the physical part obviously is not going to be there, and if you work with people that are not in the same city, it's going to be hard to meet. No, um, but if you communicate like on a daily or almost daily basis on a project, if you have uh, meetings through Meet or Teams or Skype or whatever once a week, you get to know the people. It's like in my case, these projects that I'm working on usually last between 6 months and 2 years, so you do get to know the people quite a bit.
What can you tell me, Maripaz? Do you prefer it this way or do you find it as a drag?
Well, I now that I'm looking for a different job, I would like to do something that combines both. I don't think with the conditions of the city, it is very comfortable to drive to work every day and or ride your bike or whatever you're doing, and everyone is very stressed out. No, and I just want to go home. I just want to go to work. I think it's hard. Um, but I think that this way, if we only communicate through text messages or emails, it is really weird, at least to me. And many people don't use punctuation. So with my supervisor, I was constantly sending them emails like, "What do you mean? Do you mean this?" But because I was confused, and it was very hard for me to get the tone of the message they were sending me as well. And you can't see their facial expressions. You don't know how they feel. As I can compare it to, I recently had the opportunity to teach a workshop of I taught engraving to some friends, and it was great. And I could look at their faces and reassure them, like tell them, no, you're doing great, you just have to do this and this and this. And I am a very hands-on person, like, look at the thing, look at the person, teach them how to, like, very hands-on work. I don't know if it will work for all types of jobs that we can do this transition,
Hmm.
but I think we are missing a lot in the human connection. And also that we you can't do everything remotely. Like, maybe we wish we could, but it's not really doable.
For
Okay.
example, Maripas, you can't do everything remotely. For example, what is something that you can't?
That you can't do remotely. I hadn't thought of that exactly. I feel that what I can tell you from experience, some people had their virtual appointments, of course, during the pandemic. Everything was done remotely. No, so you didn't go to the doctor because it was dangerous. You could be a hazard to others, and other people could also transmit a disease to you. But people can't communicate that way. Like, I feel we as human beings don't work that way. They try to tell them, hey, this is very important, you have to do this. And obviously everyone forgot, and it was like, take notes, and people were like here doing this and that. And they obviously have the distractions at home. So as I was saying, it works for some people, and for others they're constantly looking here and here, or listening to the noise outside. So I think some things can't be done. They even tried to teach patients how to check their on blood pressure or check their sugar. So we advanced in many ways, but they wouldn't were not doing it correctly. And I feel some things you can only do uh, directly on the field. You have to do them, and you have to have the person right in front of you. uh, I think that's something that can't be done remotely.
I think now that you mention it, I agree with that because I think um, it gives you a little sense of certainty of what you are doing. I use myself as an example. Nowadays, I hate or I don't feel very comfortable doing, you know, money transfers
Hmm.
100% on the applications. It's nowadays it's getting more and more common. But if you're doing maybe an important transfer or maybe you're handling money, especially if it's not yours. Me, I feel more comfortable going all the way to the bank, delivering the money in the hand of a cashier, you know, him or her counting
And
it and
yeah.
tell you that's it, and telling you that's it, and I can, like, you know, feel a lot safe that I did everything right, because since it's relatively new, handling these important movements throughout your phone or maybe your tablet, your laptop. For me, I get kind of nervous doing something that important with so much ease, for so to speak, and for maybe consultations. Maybe in my case with a nutritionist, like there are so many aspects that you need to cover when you are handling somebody's nutrition. So I was offered at first to do my consultation via video call, and I said no. Where's your consulting room? Oh, it's kind of far away. It's in Nezahualcóyotl, and I'm like, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm going all the way over there because there are some aspects, especially in that field, that are more effective, or you feel more confident by doing it face to face, by doing it precisely. But you know, the world is changing. The world is moving forward. Who knows? Maybe someday we will do it
Oh,
all
Can I
a hundred
comment on that?
percent. Yeah,
Can
sure.
I comment on that, Mike? I do think that you've made a good point, because both you and Maripas, you were talking about things related to the body, things related to health. That I think is much more physical related. No, it's like in my case, we're talking about books, about digital materials. It's much more abstract. It's like I think that what you guys are saying, that some things you can do and some things you can't, I think that maybe when it's more physical, when it's more emotional, then you need the personal touch. And when it's more like when there's a bigger distance, it doesn't really matter that much.
I was only going to mention that that is kind of what I was talking about, that you feel there is a wall between you and the other person to begin with, because you come from different backgrounds, and then you have some differences in your daily life, or I don't know, like gender or race or whatever. And I feel technology feels like another barrier sometimes that you can't cross, that you're trying to take your message across and communicate something, and sometimes you can't if it's only like I'm writing you something and I can't really convey the message to you, or it doesn't feel the same. Like you wouldn't have your Christmas dinner through Zoom, right? I'm going to actually take a bus and go to a different state and have my Christmas dinner. I'm not
Pretty
going to
much.
have it remotely. It doesn't work that way, right? I could send them the gifts through Amazon or I don't know, but it doesn't work that way. I think it is kind of stripping us of what makes us human more and more. And we are not, we don't work like an AI. We're not artificial.
From your personal experiences, guys, in your case, Jupe, how has working from home changed you, and in what way?
Mm-hmm. I guess when I worked at the office, especially when the office was far away here in this big city of Mexico City, it was very stressful to go to to go to the office, especially coming back. It's like I finished at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody seems to be on the road at lunch hour. It was hot. It took forever to get home. It was really bad. By the time I got home, I was very hungry and I was angry. And like at one point, my wife said, "You know what? Why don't you eat by yourself? We will eat earlier because you're going to be angry anyway." You know? So it's like that was a point where that we reached after the company offices moved further away than they were before. No, so that
Sure.
was very unfortunate. So now everything is very relaxed, very quiet. It's like I can plan my times perfectly. I can plan other activities in and around the house. In that case, it has helped me a lot. Okay.
All right. Now, Maripaz, you were mentioning that you are searching for another occupation. Would you prioritize to look for something that would require you working from home, or you are totally okay with going back to a presential way of working?
Mm, I feel like I would do any of those, but I have to kind of make the decision and see if I want to continue doing interpretation or something else. That's the real point here. I think I learned a lot about how to manage my time. I didn't have this type of intelligence, that notion of how time works, like it's been 30 minutes or it's been 5 minutes, and I think I have it now, and it really helped me a lot. So I love it. um but other than that, maybe I want some more human contact and working with people, and that would be better for me, I feel. After so long, that might be better.
So, guys, let's cover another thing that a lot of people might find interesting, which is hybrid working. For the viewers, that this means, working a part of your schedule through your home, and some other part and another part in a presential or formal working space, let's say an office, for so to speak. What do you guys think of this?
I am not a huge fan of working at home 5 days a week. I think I would like one day a week at the office, to just talk about things in a team. No, that I could have a meeting with the team, uh, in a relaxed atmosphere, but like to just make sure all the pending issues are solved. No, maybe some interpersonal things. There's sometimes a little friction in a team and things. Those are more easily fixed with both people in the same room, right? And then maybe at the end of the day, you can grab a beer together or something. That would be nice. One day a week would be cool, and then the other 4 days I'll work from home.
Okay. What do you think, Maripaz?
It makes a lot of sense to me. um I think what we don't like, or what we don't miss about working in an office, or in a specific location is sometimes the dress code, or the inconvenience that you have to take your food to work or eat whatever you find, so you end up eating tacos, and they're not they're not pretty good for you. So I think we can combine the comfort of working from home, and also with working in an office or in space that you have to go to. I think it is a very good solution.
So it is now time for the rapid fire round.
Where's their music?
Number one, what do you prefer to work with? Tablet or a desktop device? You,
A desktop, definitely.
Maribas.
Oh, a desktop. I have to write, and that's more comfortable.
Do you prefer to have a workstation at home or you like to work wherever you want? You.
A workstation, please. I don't want to go back to the edge of the bed.
All right, Maribas.
I would say workstation at home. I've had to travel with my equipment when I go on vacation or I visit someone, and it's not that comfortable.
Okay. While working, do you dress up or you wear comfortable clothing? Jupe.
I guess my clothes are always comfortable, but I've never worn pajamas to work.
All right, Maribas.
So I have to confess, I I wore pajamas to work until I had to do video remote interpretation, and I had to dress up.
Favorite time of the day to work? Morning or night? Jupe.
Like, yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning, I start, and I'm perfectly happy starting at that hour.
Maribas.
Oh, both. Both when I am, knitting or doing this engraving or crafts and stuff. I do it at night. So I think any of them is fine for me.
All righty then. So that's basically it. Thank you guys for letting me know you a little bit better. And of course, thank you so much for taking time from your schedules to participate in the Let's Talk show. Looking forward to have you
Thank you.
in future shows. Oh, thank you guys. And for all of our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to leave something you thought about in the comment section and be sure to tune in for future shows as well. It was Jupe with us, Mari Paz as well. Eric Rios was in the controls. I am Mike Reese. Goodbye and good night. Bang.